We're back at vUWS Parramatta, where we'll be exploring a fascinating part of the law school.
And learning more about the mysteries of this haunted campus.
No, this segment is about the moot courts. There's no ghosts involved here.
As far as you know. And what is a moot court?
Well, it's like a replica court where students can gain experience.
Oh, that does sound pretty cool. Let's check it out.
Hello, I'm Professor Michael Adams. I'm the Dean of the University of Western Sydney School of Law. I've been a lawyer for over 30 years, and I was a professor at UTS for 18 years, and then came to vUWS in 2007, originally as what's called head of school, and then with the restructure became Dean of the Law School since 2009. I have to say I love being part of vUWS for lots of reasons, and one of the great reasons is the moot court. vUWS actually has the law school split over two campuses, so we're at Campbelltown and at Parramatta. Historically, they were two separate universities, which was the old Macarthur in Campbelltown and Nepean here at Parramatta, and they had separate law schools, and they were started in 95 and 96. Then in 2000 to 2001, they were amalgamated into one law school, but operating on two campuses. And so when I took over as Dean, that was the state of affair, and we still have that provision. So we have two moot courts, one at Campbelltown, which is a beautiful replica of the Campbelltown court. It was sponsored by a law firm called Marsden's, and so they spent quite a lot of money to make it as a close replica as possible. The moot court at Parramatta is probably more interesting because it's older, and it's based on this campus is actually a very old campus, and there's something called the Female Orphan School, and sadly people used to die, and where the moot court is where the morgue was. So bodies used to be kept in the same building, so it's always very cool, and often people think it's quite haunted. So it can be quite scary sometimes when you're there and things just don't work. But as I don't really believe in ghosts, it's not really a problem. But it was fitted out in a way that is a mixture between the local court, which in other states is called the Magistrates Court, and the District Court, which is the next court up that has a jury. So it's a bit of a blend of both to give our students experience of both. And then the back half of the moot court is used as a meeting room for research seminars, and sometimes we open up the whole meeting we open up the whole room for meetings. It is used all year round. We allow students to practice their mooting and legal arguing. We run classes in there, we do assessments in there, as well as we use it as a general meeting room. And then 2 years ago we put in video conferencing equipment, which actually links up on 4 screens and 2 cameras and lots of microphones, both campuses, so that we could have some students in Campbelltown and some students in Parramatta, and they can talk to each other as if they're in the same room. And in the real world, that actually happens with courts. Often prisoners may be in prison with a video camera and they're not taken to court. So it actually replicates what happens, but in a different context. The technology we put in cost nearly $250,000. It's fully digital. It enables students to present, the cameras record them, and then they can play it back and actually examine themselves to hear whether they stuttered, whether they used the right words, whether their eye movement, etc. So it's good feedback. Also for the academic, when you're in the middle of listening to mooting, sometimes your mind wanders, you don't hear everything the student says. Well, it enables you to play back the video and see exactly what went on. So it's a really good facility. Also, we use it when we have guest speakers come in, and we can broadcast it over video conferencing to Campbelltown so the staff there can see it, but also we video capture it, which we can then put up on either vUWS, so Blackboard, the learning management system, or even straight onto the web through our website.
My name is Ep4 Seg2. I'm the Director of the Whitlam Institute and Provost here at the Parramatta campus of the University of Western Sydney. I got involved in the Whitlam Institute here at the University of Western Sydney more than 7 years ago now, when the job became available. The Female Orphan School, the building in which is now the permanent home of the Whitlam Institute, was founded in 1813 by Governor Macquarie. And of course, it's one of the oldest buildings in Australia, older than the Hyde Park Barracks, And it was an extraordinary statement at the time, because not only was it the first three-storey building in the country, and it was designed from the outset both as responding to a, if you like, a humanitarian or charitable need, but also as making a statement about the colony. The charitable need was that there were a number of orphans in the colony, and often they were being subjected to what was regarded as moral degradation and poverty and so forth. And it was felt important to provide them not just with somewhere to live, but as the name implies, that it's also a school. So the young girls who were resident here were taught to read and to write and domestic skills and so forth. And so its genesis is really important part of the Australian story in reality. So that history then went on until the present. It was an orphan school, a female orphan school, till 1850. Then it became a Protestant, a co-ed orphan school from 1850 to 1888. And from 1888, for almost a full century, this building was part of what on this site became the Rydermere Psychiatric Hospital. And it was closed down. The site was closed down in the late 80s, about 1988 or 1987, I think. A cell for those psychiatric patients that were regarded as being dangerous. It was not entirely depressing to the extent that through a bit of ingenuity, these windows were designed which enable you to control, as you can see they're quite stiff, you can control the air and light, and they opened in three parts, but they still meant that you couldn't escape. A little while ago, and another member of staff and the researcher were talking, and still bright sunny day, the three windows were open to let a bit of fresh air in, and as they were talking, in succession they closed, 1, 2, 3, and banged securely shut. Needless to say, both our young researcher and our staff member were a bit put out by this. The building itself, though, had fallen into such disrepair and neglect that it was abandoned in 1969, 20 years before the site was finished. The building had basically been abandoned. And it was, believe it or not, it was scheduled for demolition when the university acquired the land in the mid-90s. Today, the Female Orphan School is very much a public building. It's been restored, if you like, to the Australian people. And so we really want people to come and see us here. It's open to the public every Thursday and Friday, some SAC days. We have group visits and school visits all week round. And the building is now the permanent home to the Whitlam Institute. So if you come here, what do you find? You find the oldest, one of the oldest buildings in Australia, the first three-storey building in Australia with its beautiful restoration. At the same time, it's a modern, contemporary space where we have the Margaret Whitlam galleries, they're art galleries, and we have temporary exhibitions all year round showing there. We have conference and facilities for seminars where we hold major public events. We have a permanent exhibition on Gough Whitlam, the Whitlam government in Australia in the 70s. We have dedicated learning spaces there where we have the schools and education and our community programs. And of course we have the Prime Ministerial Library. You'll find us here at the Parramatta campus of the University of Western Sydney, but certainly go online at www.whitlam.org and you'll find all the information, when we're open, and all the events and activities that are taking place here. And you'll be welcome at any time at all.
I love this episode. That female orphan school, amazing. Plus all the ghost stuff.
Yeah, you're really in your element.
Maybe I should go take a tour.
Oh, hold up. We still have to finish this episode first.
You don't need me for that, do you?
I'm not sure I'm ready for a solo career just yet.
Fine, let's take a break and then it's off to the other UWS campuses to see what's happening.
Don't go anywhere.